Moving and inspiring, edifying even. I'd like to now welcome our final presenter for this session. We've had in the Sikh tradition, there's very much an importance in emphasizing on each individual to be a saint and a soldier. So we have had our Sikh saint, and now we'll have our Sikh soldier. As General Bikaram Singh, the former chief of the Indian Army, will come and speak to us. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am deeply conscious of the fact that as a soldier, I am amongst the scholars from various religions, religious leaders, who had, all earlier speakers had that piety, that serenity writ large on their faces and in their persona. And in the first session, one heard Swamiji talk about 4 muscles being used. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I learned to use those 72 muscles because a soldier is supposed to be having that no-nonsense look on his face. So if you do not see me smile, as Swamiji said, please pardon me, 42 years in the army, I can't change it in just about half an hour or 1 hour. I think it'll take time, but Swamiji, it's a great takeaway. All of you, for that matter, all speakers, great takeaways. Trust me, it's impacted my life. It's given me an insight into certain aspects which one tends to ignore in day-to-day life, and especially while being in the army. Well, ladies and gentlemen, when I was called here, I mulled over this invite from Mr. Surinder Kandhari. It's been justified as Sikhs being, saint soldiers. The saint has already spoken and a soldier is speaking now. But I said, let me become relevant. How will I be relevant to this very pious gathering over here of all the people? And please pardon me the way I speak. I'm sorry, I've got to speak like a soldier. Don't expect me to be speaking like a religious head. I will do that, trust me, next time if you call me. Because I've learned the art of using those 4 muscles more than those 72 muscles. I said, let me correlate my experience of over 4 decades in the army to this particular forum. And ladies and gentlemen, I must confess and must start by saying that I've had the unique privilege and honor of heading an organization which epitomizes interfaith harmony in India. And that's the Indian Army. And I'm going to illustrate this pictorially to the first slide. Incidentally, this has not been engineered or doctored for this particular event. This picture that you have is one of my colleagues, a Sikh over here. You have another Hindu. They are here at the masjid praying. Indian Army replicates that very beautiful multicultural, multi-religious mosaic which is there of our country. We are a heterogeneous lot, yet a homogeneous whole. And I'm going to take this analogy forward that if the Indian Army, to which I belong, can have, despite so many religions, so many beliefs, so many cultures, so many faiths, so many ethnic groups being part of this fabric of ours, and if we can live in harmony, why not communities, why not societies, why not neighborhoods, and why not the globe? So I just want to touch upon, and here is the case I've shown you. We have a system of Sarv Dharmsthals, which is a sanctum sanctorum, which has a place of worship of all the religions. I mean, it's unique in its form. You will never see this anywhere on earth. And this is one of those, you will find all the religions to which the troops belong, the place of worship under one roof. This, ladies and gentlemen, epitomizes interfaith harmony. And that's the reason I wanted to start this talk of mine. And I'm going to talk about the realistic world, the realism. Do a reality check as to why there's turbulence on this globe and what can we do about it. And I'm going to talk about perhaps certain points that have been given out by Mr. Ban Ki-moon. The Millennium Goals. If you look at those Millennium Goals, they ultimately are all homing towards peace and tranquility and stability. And I find the time is running out. As a soldier, I'm going to stick exactly to the 15 minutes assigned to me. Right. What is it that binds, let me touch upon this. What is it that binds the Indian Army? It is goals, commonality of goals and objectives. And if all of us in our neighborhoods, in our communities, on the globe, have a commonality of goal of peace, stability, and tranquility and harmony, I think we can achieve it. So the commonality of the goal is a must. And how do we converge? How do we bring about that congruence is a challenge for all of us seated in this hall. And the other thing is the organizational culture. The organizational culture of the Indian Army, ladies and gentlemen, hinges on values. I talked of these values yesterday, last night I was speaking at the Indian Business Professional Council. Of course, our subject was totally different, and therefore this metamorphosis from speaking on leadership onto coming into a very religious forum, it required a bit of, I would say, flexibility on my part. But the organizational culture hinges on integrity, on loyalty, on duty, respect, selfless service, moral courage, and honor. And if you come to think of it, these are societal values, these are social values. These have been culled out from the society. And ultimately, if you see, all beliefs, all faiths, all religions underscore the same values. And we, as a heterogeneous body, organization, a very important, very responsive, very accountable organ of the state, despite that heterogeneity, are a homogeneous whole because of that values that we have. And in this values, if you come to think of, is respect, which is respect for diversity, respect for the feelings and sentiments of others. Now, let me get on to the building interfaith harmony when you talk of it, and now I'm getting into the world which is a realistic world. Ladies and gentlemen, the turbulence is on account of what's happening today, and if we all of us get together and look at these facets, I suppose we'll be able to bring about peace and tranquility and stability, looking at poverty, illiteracy, human rights violations, inequality, gender discrimination, environmental degradation, and disease. The next point, of course, is we challenge in unison the elements promoting violence for the narrow gains. People are living with bitterness. People are living with the negative facets of history. And they are the people who, for their personal motives, they subvert, they corrupt the ideals of their religion to take the masses along with them to create conflict and violence. If you look at all the conflict, wherever the globe is burning today, wherever there is tension today, if you go into the nuts and bolts of that particular conflict, you'll find it's been driven by a handful of people who are deviating from the normal norms of humanity, of mankind, of societal norms, social norms, which I've talked about. Force. This has got to be the last resort. I talked about it yesterday because yesterday I was asked a question. You have to be using force as the last resort. Though, mind you, our 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, when he created the Khalsa, he made them saint soldiers. I'm a soldier here. But one thing he taught us was to use, sorry? Can you hear me now? You know, our 10th Guru, when he made us soldiers, it was lying that way when I came in. I thought perhaps that was a better way to perhaps communicate. You know, he taught us certain values as a soldier as well. And a value of royal courage, which teaches you to use force as the last resort. And here is it, quoting our 10th Guru, who said that all modes of redressing a wrong having failed, raising of sword is pious and just. Ladies and gentlemen, if this becomes a norm on the world, in the world, all on the globe, you will find peace and stability. We have other means to deal with conflict. We have other means to deal with, certain issues which are over there. But there's a tendency today, an impetuous, impatient world, youngsters, communities, where we do not want to use other means to achieve our ends, but want to use force straight away. We've got to nurture the next generation. I'm sorry to say, all of us have already frames of reference within us, in our personalities, in our personas. But the impressionable minds are the youngsters, are the children. If we can target that generation, and I would appeal to all of us, and especially this forum next time, let's get hold of children from all faiths to be part and parcel of this particular forum. And see the impact it will have. We all have already got our frames of reference. We already know what is black and white. But those impressionable minds, those kids who are the future leaders of the world, of the globe, of their respective communities, have got to be brought under one roof like this to understand the teachings of various religions, which all religions teach the same thing. I mean, this is one takeaway from me. You take any religion, no religion is teaching to become violent. Every religion is teaching you to be a good human being, a good person, to live in peace and stability and tranquility. Ekam Kar is a message given by my religion, and we have had a very distinguished speaker before me, Bhai Sahib Mahinder Singh ji, who's an authority on this. I'm a student, if you ask me frankly. I'm still a student of military science, leave aside this particular subject. But Ekamkar is one God. And ultimately, having listened to all of you, my faith in Ekamkar has intensified many folds today. Indeed, there is one God. There is one supernatural part. He may have taken different forms to come onto the world, but ultimately the teachings are same. Values I've already talked about. These are the values that have been enshrined in our religion. And I'm using the word Sikhism. I apologize to Bhai Sahib. He mentioned that we should not be using isms. Next time it won't be there. But I couldn't have changed the slide, as I said, in the last about half an hour. But if you see all this, you'll find the values that have been given. I talked of royal courage. On top is humility. These are the attributes which you find onto the right. Each guru of ours has underscored one very divine attribute, in addition to various other attributes, values, and qualities. And this is given, if you see, in the clockwise manner, starting from Guru Nanak Dev Ji, coming on to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And humility, ladies and gentlemen, is something we have to always remember. Notwithstanding what you're endured with, notwithstanding what God gives you, notwithstanding the fact that you become a wise man, you become a wealthy man, you must have your feet on ground and your head tightly screwed to your shoulders always. And there was a word about, I wanted to tell you, but I won't touch on this. I've got precisely 1 minute and 7 seconds to go, and I don't want to be here for longer than that. But yes, if you have respect, I talked of it, and a positive attitude of helping everyone who comes to you, I think we'll be able to get together, put our act together to bring about peace and stability and tranquility. I talked about, we've got to forget the negative facets of history. Repeatedly, ladies and gentlemen, there are segments of our society who are playing this up always. And I'm of the firm belief that acid which is contained, it does more harm to the container than it does to the people on whom that acid is thrown. You can't live with that negativity in your life. And if you do that, you can't move forward. You can't have peace and tranquility. You've got to forget those negative facets of history if you want peace and stability and harmony. We have to ensure, very important, the problems in the world have been created. We've had some very beautiful speakers speaking on this particular aspect. But I think collectively we got to ensure, we institute mechanism, we institutionalize the utilization of this particular space to make sure this is not detrimental to humanity and the overall cause. And of course, I have talked about this. We need to expand this forum, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot just have people from all faiths coming and speaking here. They have to be here. Of course, they are the people, they are the authority to give us the values of all the religions. But I think more important is takeaways for the next generation. For the people who do not believe in these things, for people who are creating problems on the globe, people who have different views, conflicting views, they have got to be brought onto the same path, the path of peace, Camino de la Paz, path to peace, which leads to prosperity and happiness on the globe. And of course, this is what was quoted by Mr. Sundar Kandhari. It was quoted by Bhai Sahib as well. Kar sukh vasya bahar sukh paya. If you have peace at home, ladies and gentlemen, this shall manifest into peace, into your neighborhood, into your communities, and ultimately onto the globe. Thank you very much.